Good evening, I'm Michael and you're watching Kini News, the show that brings you today's biggest stories. We start today's show with the country's latest COVID-19 situation. Malaysia reported 21 new COVID-19 cases today, with 16 of those cases being local transmissions. The remaining 5 were imported cases from Singapore, Australia, the Philippines, Pakistan and Qatar. Sarawak continues to be the state with the highest number of new reported cases, with 8 new infections, all involving Malaysians. The Health Ministry also announced the discovery of 3 more infection clusters involving a foreign shipping crew and 2 Malaysians who returned to the country recently. Meanwhile, the ministry added that there were 3 new recoveries today, putting the total number of recoveries at 8,577. No new fatalities linked to COVID-19 were reported, with the death toll remaining at 123. The amazing folks at PDRM really don't get enough credit for the amazing job they do keeping us all safe. And as you'll see in our next story, they're not only in the business of keeping humans safe, and if you're a monkey, they got your back too. Traffic Police Officer Azizi Adnan, attached to Bukit Aman's Traffic Investigation and Enforcement Department, conducted one of his usual patrols on Tuesday. When he was on the Kajang Silk Highway with his unit, he saw something on the road at kilometer 27.2 on the Sungai Ramal bound road. At first he thought it was a small child who had fallen onto the road, but after closer inspection, it turned out to be a monkey. Little did he know that his heroic actions on that day, along with the aid of a good Samaritan, would gain him widespread praise on social media. A 2-minute video clip on PDRM's Facebook page showed Azizi, his 2 colleagues and a good Samaritan helping the monkey, which seemed to be bleeding. Speaking to Malaysia Kini, Azizi said the monkey's head was bleeding, believed to be hit by a motorcycle. Azizi proceeded to stop oncoming traffic to ensure the primate would not be run over. With the help of a kind motorcyclist, the monkey was taken off the bustling highway and deposited in the secondary forest adjacent to a slip road. Azizi said PDRM saves lives and it doesn't matter if they are human, monkeys or dogs. He also noted that the cooperation between the policeman and a member of the public, as shown in the video, embodied the spirit of Polis dan Masyarakat Berpisah Tiada. The Perikatan National Government said it will amend the Finas Act to bring it up to date, but this did not happen without some pressure. Communications and Multimedia Minister Saifuddin Abdullah caused quite a stir yesterday after he told Dewan Rakyat that a license from Finas is required for all filming activities in Malaysia, even for personal use on social media. Since he said that in Parliament on Thursday morning, he was heavily criticised, prompting him to issue a clarification in the evening that the government does not intend to use the Finas Act to stifle personal freedoms. He also said what he said in Parliament in response to Keluang MP Wong Soo Kee was merely to explain the Finas Act as it currently stands. Here's a recap of what he said.
Penerbit filem wajib memohon lesen pengeluaran filem serta surat pengakuan penggambaran SPP, tidak kira mereka adalah agensi media, arus perdana atau media personal yang menerbitkan filem di platform media sosial atau saluran tradisi.
Following this, Speaker Information Chief Shamsul Iskandar Mohamad Akin today called on the government to review the functions of the Finas Act and to abolish current film licensing requirements under the law. According to Shamsul, Section 22(1) of the Act, which is on the need for license to distribute, exhibit or produce any moving images, is no longer relevant in today's context. Referring to when the Act was first mooted, he said the environment in the 1980s and today is vastly different. He added that the provision cannot be used to address current enforcement and development challenges. With that, he said the requirement for individuals to obtain a Finas license must be abolished. At the same time, leeway should be given for media practitioners to meet the licensing requirements. Shamsul clarified that PKR does not deny the need to control materials that could impact the country's peace and harmony, but he stressed there is an important need for creative content development. Last night, PKR Communications Director Fahmi Fahdil had demanded Saifuddin's resignation after 3 major missteps, which included the latest Finas fiasco. For allegedly being in possession of a sickle, Sugu of YouTube fame has been charged in court. Sugu, the husband of YouTube star S. Pavitra, who shot to fame with their joint YouTube cooking channel Sugu Pavitra, was charged with possession of a dangerous weapon today. The 29-year-old man arrived at the Ipoh Sessions Court in handcuffs this morning and claimed trial before Judge Muhammad Fauzi Muhammad Nasir. English Language Daily, The Star reported that Sugu was charged under Section 6(1) of the Corrosive and Explosive Substances and Offensive Weapons Act 1958. This is for allegedly being in possession of a sickle while at the Raja Pamaisari Bainan Hospital in Ipoh. He is said to have committed the offence at a parking lot in the hospital premises on July 21st at about 6 p.m. According to the Star, Sugu's lawyer, Mahindrajit Singh, requested for a lower bail as his wife Pavitra had retracted her police report on July 22nd. Mahindrajit also said it was a misunderstanding between the couple and they had 2 children, aged 2 and 8. Mahindrajit was also quoted as saying that the wife could only afford to pay a bail between 5,000 ringgit and 10,000 ringgit. Justice Mohammad Fauzi set bail at 10,000 ringgit with 1 surety and set August 17th for mention. He also ordered Sugu to report to the nearest police station on the 1st of every month until the case is settled. The couple from Sungai Siput Perak shot to fame when Pavitra's cooking videos on their YouTube channel gained traction during the movement control order period. A former minister wants the opposition to form an alternative cabinet lineup. Here's why. Former de facto law minister Liew Yew Kiong said the opposition should look to form an alternative cabinet that could take over Putrajaya in case the Perikatan National Government collapses. In an interview with Malaysia Kini, Liew said he proposed an alternative cabinet instead of the much talked about shadow cabinet. He said a shadow cabinet has been proven to work well in the two-party system in the UK, but may not suit the current political scenario in Malaysia, where no party commands a comfortable majority in the Dewan Rakyat.
What they call it, the shadow cabinets, comes quite handy because in the events that this party that collapse, then the opposition party that has a shadow cabinet can overtake immediately. You know, it has happened in England, but here we don't have that. Given the fact that I think we don't have a comfortable, political party that can say that, I am one political party and the other one is the opposition, you see. Mm-hmm. Here, the political party like Bersatu, UMNO, PAS, GPS.
Liew added that the alternative cabinet in waiting would give people an idea and expectation to who they could rely on if the government was to collapse.
Well, we can say that these are the alternative cabinet in the event that this present cabinets collapsed. You see, but I think this is something new we have to really discuss. Because our system works in such a way that whoever becomes the prime minister, right, and then that prime minister will decide who will be in his cabinet day and day. But I understand what you're saying. If we have a alternative cabinet now, right, we said these are the lineup. Okay, and then if the present cabinet collapse, then this lineup will take over. Then the people have some form of, I guess, a preparation and expectation. These are the alternative cabinet that we can rely on.
Coming up next, Obama and Joe Biden joined forces to slam Trump on Thursday. Joe Biden and former US President Barack Obama have blasted US President Donald Trump.
But this guy's in court in the middle of a pandemic trying to take away the protection for 100 million people who have pre-existing conditions. I don't think he has any sense of empathy or I don't think he can associate at all.
Democratic presidential candidate Joe Biden and former President Barack Obama blasted Republican President Donald Trump's handling of the coronavirus pandemic in a video released by the Biden campaign on Thursday.
Can you imagine standing up when you're a president saying, it's not my responsibility? I take no responsibility. It's not, I mean, literally. Literally.
Those words didn't come out of our mouths while we were in office.
In the video, both arrive for their meeting separately, wearing masks, then sit down facing each other across a room for a socially distanced conversation. The conversation included some direct and indirect jabs at Trump.
This guy has generated a sense out there that people are waking up to, that he ran by deliberately dividing people from the moment he came down that escalator. And I think people are now going, I don't want my kid growing up that way.
You and I had experience dealing with health crises public health crisis. I have confidence that you're going to actually listen to the experts.
Yeah.
And you're going to pay attention to the science. We understood this during the financial crisis. You can't separate out the public health crisis from the economy. If you want the economy growing again, people have to feel safe.
Both Biden and Obama released the video on Twitter, where Obama has 120.8 million followers, the most on the platform. Trump responded to the video by attacking Obama and Biden on Twitter as well. He said that he wouldn't have been president without them, and they had done a terrible job. With traditional campaigning still on hold due to the pandemic, the video offered a glimpse into how Obama, who is still overwhelmingly popular among Democratic voters, may be deployed to build enthusiasm for the presidential election in November. According to opinion polls ahead of the November 3rd election, Trump is trailing Biden in large parts because of voter dissatisfaction with how the president responded to the coronavirus. The United States on Thursday recorded more than 1,100 deaths from COVID-19, marking the third straight day that the nation passed that grim milestone as the pandemic escalates in southern and western U.S. states.
COVID-19 cases have passed 750,000 in Africa, and experts believe this is just the beginning. Total confirmed coronavirus cases in Africa have passed 750,000, a Reuters tally of Government and World Health Organization data showed on Wednesday. The continent's epicenter, South Africa, has become one of the top 5 most affected countries in the world, behind the United States, Brazil, India and Russia. The World Health Organization has warned that the accelerating transmission of the virus needs to be taken very, very seriously. On Monday, Mike Ryan, the executive director of WHO's emergency program, said that South Africa could be a precursor for the continent.
Maybe a warning for what will happen in the rest of Africa. So I think this isn't just a wake-up call for South Africa. This really is, we need to take what is happening in Africa very, very seriously. Many of those countries exist in the midst of fragility and conflict. Many of them need external help and support.
Most countries on the continent have imposed restrictions on public gatherings and international travel and introduced curfews, among other steps meant to curb the spread of the virus. Although many have started gradually easing lockdowns to reopen hard-hit economies, governments are alert to the fact that opening up too quickly could lead to a spike in new cases. The Reuters tally puts South Africa, Ghana, Nigeria, Egypt and Algeria as the leading countries with cases on the continent. And that is all from me today. For more stories, you can go to KiniTV.com. You can also follow us on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube and Facebook for the latest news updates. I'll be back with more next week, same time, same place. I'm Prasad Michael. Thank you for watching.